DOJ Special Counsel Jack Smith is formally targeting Donald Trump for criminal indictment over trying to steal the 2020 election. Any such indictment would be Donald Trump's third overall and is especially significant for three reasons. One, this would be the first ever indictment of Trump for actions taken as president. The pending DOJ indictment of Trump right now, of course, is all about taking classified material after he left office. And that New York case is about what he did, allegedly, in 2016 before assuming office. Second reason this is big tonight, while no indictment, of course, is a small matter, there are signs that DOJ is now targeting Trump for the most serious potential crimes yet. Allegations that he, to put it straight up, operated as a criminal president, abused powers, and tried to end democracy itself. No modern president has faced this kind of potential case since Richard Nixon, who, of course, then scored a partisan pardon from his successor to avoid what was seen as a likely prosecution and possible incarceration. Third reason this is really big. If DOJ brings this case, it won't turn on Trump and his personal valet or long-lost executives or lawyers from the pre-presidency or the business side of the operation. Any conspiracy charges, if they are brought, and I'm telling you tonight, Jack Smith is targeting Donald Trump and potentially co-conspirators, any such charges would seem to lead to the powerful co-conspirators who served Trump in that critical 2020 stretch as he tried several plots with the same goal: a coup to end democracy, to overthrow the incoming administration of then President-elect Biden. We're talking about the several plots that have been exposed by journalistic investigations and government evidence that we and others have been tracking for 2 years now, some of which you see on your screen. And none of these have been federally charged yet. So this is a huge deal. And the first indication that Smith targeted Trump came from the target himself. Donald Trump now posting online today that he was told he was a target by the DOJ and the Smith probe on Sunday, and that he gets 4 days to report to the grand jury, which almost always means an arrest and indictment. Trump referring to the fact that to get this letter is basically a precursor to being arrested, and that is true. Now, the existence of this target letter has now been independently confirmed. And beyond the customary notification about the right to face the grand jury, it also states something that nobody wants to hear if it's directed at you, that the DOJ, through its voluminous process and its grand jury interviews and its FBI probes and its subpoenas and its searches, now has evidence linking him, and the big him here is Donald Trump, linking him to a crime. So this is a big deal. And if you're saying, okay, Ari, I've heard about indictments before, I've heard about accountability before, I'm tired of all this, that's fine. You could be tired. You could tune out. You could turn it off. This stuff takes time. Now, whether you like it or not, presidents, while in office, are basically completely legally protected from these DOJ probes. So, yes, it takes time, but now here, within under a year of Special Counsel Smith's appointment, you have one indictment on the Mar-a-Lago stuff, which is post-presidency, and now you have the targeting of Trump for the big enchilada, the coup that tried to steal more than your vote, tried to steal your democracy. So, hey, if it's not going fast enough for you, so be it. And any defendant is presumed innocent legally. But I'm telling you, this target letter is for the biggest charges yet. And here's how the news broke today.
We have some significant breaking news. Perhaps the most significant indictment may be coming Donald Trump's way.
Donald Trump on Truth Social says that on Sunday night, he received a Justice Department letter.
We have some breaking news coming in. Former President Donald Trump putting out a statement,
instantly making his legal troubles once again the top issue in his 2024 campaign to retake the White House.
Trump now bracing for 3 trials. And the process here can actually be gleaned from some of those other cases. I mentioned classified documents, also overseen by Special Counsel Smith, who informed Trump that he was the target on May 19th. And 3 weeks later, the indictment came down, if you're looking for a recent example of how long does this take or can it take. Now, 3 weeks is fast by legal standards. Smith has only been in this job for 8 months. Now, DOJ keeps its own timeline, but something may be in the air tonight, because we can also report the first ever charges against Trump's fraudulent electors. Remember then? Remember all of them? 16 people now indicted for that plot in Michigan. First time that's ever happened. Separate probe, and we have more on that state process for you later tonight. It's clear prosecutors are following the evidence that was both exposed and then sort of emphasized and narrated by the January 6th committee. And again, there was the series of evidence that expanded the understanding of how broad the plots were, as we've shown you here, at least 8 designed to thwart the transition to President-elect Biden. And about 6 of them, roughly, carry at least legal exposure, which prosecutors, state or federal, might charge. Again, if they're doing their jobs, which they would only charge if they have the facts and the evidence on a nonpartisan basis. Now, as of tonight, no federal charges have hit anyone for those coup plots yet, but the target letter does suggest they are coming. Another way to say that is, unless something else interferes or intercedes, as Trump said and as lawyers say and as DOJ precedent shows, you would expect charges to come after this target letter, although we are not reporting charges yet. But it's all coming in the context of that evidence that came through and the Trump lawyers even admitting parts of these plots.
That was part of the process to make sure there were alternate electors. Everything that was done illegally by the Trump legal team, according to the rules and under the leadership of Rudy Giuliani.
We had over 100 congressmen and senators on Capitol Hill ready to implement the sweep. The remedy was for Vice President Pence, as the quarterback in the Green Bay sweep, to remand those votes back to the 6 battleground states.
Do you realize you are describing a coup?
No.
No. Mr. Navarro there has since been indicted. He awaits trial from the fallout over his allegedly illegal defiance of the congressional probe. Mr. Epstein is still overseeing other lawyers on Trump's legal team. He has appeared on this and other programs before. He has not done as many interviews lately. The reports are both those individuals have faced the long arm of the law, including having phones seized in Epstein's case. Now, it was an attempted coup. We know that. This elector fraud under scrutiny. We know that continued all the way up to January 6th with GOP senators trying to put those fraudulent election materials in the hands of VP Pence. You can see in this schematic that we made, basically, an actual text they thought would remain secret of a VP Pence aide trying to prevent the elector fraud and forgeries to be handed to Pence. That was all right around there, middle of the day. That was one more thwarted scheme, as then Trump supporters turned to the physical insurrection. And that now indicted sedition looks even worse with this evidence that I've told you about, because we know that Trump first summoned those people to Washington for what became the sedition on the very night that his other plot to seize the voting machines failed after this infamously unhinged meeting, which we now know Jack Smith is also probing.
What they were proposing, I thought was nuts. Flynn screamed at me that I was a quitter and everything, kept on standing up and turning around and screaming at me.
Sidney Powell was fighting. Mike Flynn was fighting.
You did get to see the president without an appointment.
We did.
I didn't understand how they had gotten in.
People shouting at each other, hurling insults at each other.
And I stayed in the cabinet room, which is kind of cool. I really like that. All by myself.
We were pushing back and we were asking one simple question as a general matter. Where is the evidence?
Now, that meeting matters because it was illicit, which is why the participants literally snuck into the White House. Some of the proposals were criminal, why even Giuliani warned the plan would land them in prison. And that's why all of this is under criminal investigation today, with a new warning for Trump that he's targeted for coup charges. Others have gone to prison for Jan 6, we know that. Trump fans, militia leaders. But the apparent people at the top have not yet been held accountable. Now the question is, what does it mean tonight, amidst all this, when special counsel Jack Smith sends a coup warning like this to former President Trump?